Hey everyone, welcome back to This Explainer. Today, we're getting past the cute pet photos and fun tricks because we are entirely focused on analyzing the biological mechanisms and hormones behind dog behavior. We're going to pull back the curtain and look at the hard, fascinating science driving what your dog does every single day. To kick things off, let me ask you something right off the bat. Has your dog ever just collapsed and fallen asleep heavily on your feet? You know the feeling, right? You're pinned to the couch, your leg goes completely numb, and you literally stay frozen for an hour just so you don't wake them up. It's a super relatable experience for anyone with a dog. But before we just write that off as a quirky, clingy habit, let's look at the underlying science. Well, it turns out it's actually only 2%. Scientists have revealed that only 2% of dogs show these incredibly rare maternal-like behaviors toward humans. While a lot of dogs really just view people as convenient food providers, this tiny percentage exhibits a completely different level of profound psychological attachment. And it sets up this fascinating mystery for us. What do these everyday actions actually mean on a chemical level? Okay, here's our biological roadmap for today. We're going to journey through the canine nervous system by hitting 5 key stops. 1. Dopamine shock. 2. Neurological vulnerability. 3. Oxytocin bonding. 4. Cortisol reduction. And 5. The olfactory cortex. Let's get right into it. Starting with section 1. Dopamine shock, or the joy of reunion. Think about coming home after a long, exhausting day, only to be met by a dog doing the full-body helicopter wag. We usually just drop our bags, give them a pat, and move on. But notice the highly specific physical markers here. The U-shaped body wiggle, softened ears, squinting eyes, and that uncontrollable hip slang. This isn't just a dog being quote-unquote happy. This is a highly specific, involuntary response that originally develops exclusively between a young puppy and its mother. The absolute key here is dopamine. The moment they see you, their brain is literally flooded with this chemical, triggering an involuntary wave of excitement and completely uncontrolled joy. They simply can't hide it. It makes this greeting a biologically driven signal of pure emotional safety, not just a reaction to the person who fills the food bowl. And this perfectly highlights a huge disconnect for us. Our human assumption is often, oh, they're begging for a treat or they must be hungry. But the biological reality? It's an involuntary response of emotional safety. Think about it. Lonely shelter dogs get fed by people every single day, but they do not greet strangers with this level of pure, unbreakable attachment.
All right, let's see how this builds in section 2. Neurological vulnerability, the ultimate trust.
What's going on in their brain when the excitement fades and deep sleep hits? This is actually when a dog enters its most vulnerable neurological state. During deep sleep, their heart rate drops drastically, and their wild defensive instincts are entirely quieted. In the wild animal kingdom, sleeping completely exposed usually means you don't survive the night. So when they choose your living, breathing body as a bed, even if it means your leg goes numb for an hour, it's a profound act of survival trust. They have every comfortable surface in the house, but they chose you. We see this vulnerability pop up again when they roll over. We usually assume they're just asking for a quick belly rub, right? But the biological reality is way deeper. They are completely overriding their ancient survival instincts. Voluntary belly exposure is honestly one of the absolute highest declarations of trust in their entire behavioral repertoire. Every single survival instinct is being silenced by a profound sense of emotional safety. Moving right along to section 3, oxytocin bonding, the chemistry of love. Let's talk about eye contact. In the wild, direct, unblinking eye contact between dogs is almost always perceived as a challenge or impending aggression. But with you, totally different story. When your dog holds a soft, relaxed eye contact with you, it triggers a massive mutual release of oxytocin in both of your brains. This is the exact same love hormone responsible for the incredibly deep bond between a human mother and her newborn baby. Their brain is quite literally lighting up with love. And that chemical connection often translates into physical actions. We tend to reframe a dog licking us as just a messy habit and pull away. But scientifically, this is a behavior called allogrooming. Mother dogs use this intimate social licking to physically heal their pups, calm their nervous systems, and maintain emotional connection. So when your dog insists on licking your hand, they're actively trying to physically care for you, especially when you're stressed. That brings us perfectly to section 4, cortisol reduction, the emotional anchor. Dogs often act as an invisible tether, kind of just following you from the couch to the kitchen. Researchers have found they do this using the exact same psychological mechanism as securely attached human toddlers following their moms. Now, it's absolutely crucial to clarify that this following behavior isn't necessarily separation anxiety. Your physical presence actively regulates their nervous system. Being near you causes their cortisol, which is the stress hormone, to drop and their breathing to steady. It's a genuine biological need for proximity. You are literally their emotional anchor.
Plus, they are incredible at reading your emotions because of these highly advanced biological sensors. I mean, they can literally smell microscopic cortisol spikes in your sweat when you're stressed. They hear subtle shifts in your breathing patterns that another human would totally miss, and they read your tiny micro-expressions. This kind of advanced empathy is exactly why they can sense your silent tears before they even fall, coming right over to rest their head on your knee to anchor you.
Now, the unmatched depth of a dog's biology is arguably most clearly demonstrated when you aren't even actively engaging with them. So let's look at Section 5, the Olfactory Cortex, the silent protector. Have you ever come home to find your dog tightly curled up on your discarded, dirty gym shirt? Don't scold them for it. The olfactory cortex is the region of the brain where your specific, unwashed scent acts as a deeply embedded biological comfort signal. Studies actually show that owner-scented objects produce a highly measurable, significant reduction in a dog's separation stress. They are desperately self-soothing with your scent to lower their own cortisol. And what about when you're completely asleep? You might find your dog laying at the foot of the bed or in the doorway, facing outward. That isn't random. This is highly elevated environmental scanning. They're actively monitoring the darkness for threats to protect you. It is a profound protective gesture that only 5% of owners actually receive. And they ask for nothing in return but your ultimate safety. Let's quickly pull all this together because it brilliantly illustrates everything we've uncovered today. The helicopter wag isn't just excitement, it's a massive dopamine release. The exposed belly, a total survival instinct override. That soft stare is a mutual oxytocin spike. And sleeping on your dirty clothes is olfactory cortisol reduction. A dog's love is not just a human projection, it is a highly evolved, scientifically measurable, biological imperative. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. If their biology is entirely wired for your safety, your comfort, and your emotional regulation, how will you see your dog differently tomorrow? Next time they lean against you or give you that soft stare, remember the incredible chemistry happening right beneath the surface. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.